Today, we're tackling a new phenomenon in San Francisco's homeless crisis. The city is seeing an uptick in families experiencing homelessness. Our media partners at the San Francisco Standard have written an article about the trend and the many factors that are driving it. During their reporting, they met and highlighted several families who are directly impacted. Joining us now with more on their stories is the author of that article, Ida Mujadad, staff reporter for the San Francisco Standard. Ida, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
How many, the best count we've got right now, homeless are in San Francisco right now, and what percentage of that you think is families?
There is an uptick in families experiencing homelessness throughout the past year, and a lot of the newcomer families are actually asylum seekers. So that is an element driving part of this, but the families that are going through this, going to the city to try and get some shelter are finding that there have been some capacity constraints in December in particular.
I see. So let's look at these numbers here. 616 families enrolled in response programs, right? That's the last quarter of last year. And that is up from 578 families in the prior 3 months. So you said this is driven by asylum seekers increase. Where are they coming from? What countries? And what kind of conditions have been happening in their home countries?
Yeah, so there's been some instability, particularly in Peru and Nicaragua, and that is reflected in a family shelter that is at a unique shelter at a school in the Mission District called Buena Vista Horace Mann. And so a few of the families are from Peru, a few of them are from Nicaragua, and those are some of the families that I talked to a couple weeks ago. And, they're citing some political instability, some just inability to make things work down there and just wanting a better life for their kids. So yes. Yeah.
So take a look, folks, at the pictures that Ida and her team provided to us, because you went to that school in the Mission that you were talking about, met some of the families. Tell us about this family and their situation and how they were accommodated at the school.
So both of the families that I spoke to for this particular story, they both actually found the shelter through Compass Family Services, and then they were connected to the shelter run by Dolores Street Community Services, which is hosted at the school. And so they come in at night and they can stay through the weekend, but once the school is needed for school purposes, they have to get up quite early to go. And either the kids got enrolled in school, but some of them had to wait a little bit to get vaccinated and get settled. So some of them were automatically able to be enrolled in school, and including one in an after-school program. But the parents have to, figure out what to do for the rest of the day, look for work, figure out their asylum cases, and then get back to the shelter at night. And that back and forth has been really wearing on some of those family members, especially with the younger kids.
Yeah, that picture you showed us, was that the school gym? I saw the wooden planks. Is that where they're putting the mattresses and where they're sleeping at night?
Yeah, the mats are piled up during the day in the gym, and then they sleep. They roll them out at night, and they sleep there. And some of them have some favorite mats that they prefer, as I heard them asking about when I got there.
Does the city expect this to be more and more used as a solution, I suppose, if they continue to see an uptick in families that need housing? I mean, it's a very different situation than singles. Most shelters are not set up for families.
Exactly. They have to stay in a unit together. They need to be together. They need to be with their caregivers. Yeah. And the city is actually adding more permanent supportive housing units and vouchers and emergency vouchers in the next year. But there's still an air of nervousness about if it will be enough as these, upticks happen, if more people come into the city. Others are, maybe just coming from rural areas, as Dolores Street Community Services said, looking for work, but they don't have a place to stay. The people come up from other countries. They don't have automatic connections, so it takes some time to get situated. They don't have work permits. Other families just feel the regular squeeze of the Bay Area and the loss of jobs and eviction notices and the like.
I mean, you talked about building some long-term solutions, but in the meantime, how long do you think, I think Horace Mann, the school that you visited, how long will that remain as an overnight and weekend shelter like that?
It looks here to stay, and they added some more capacity in December after a different shelter was set to close. So that added quite a few constraints on the overall ability that they had to serve families. And so some families were actually camped outside trying to get a spot inside the school. So it really just depends on if they have enough beds at the right time, if more people come and they're not able to place out other families who needed it.
Our time is up, but I am wondering, has the neighborhood responded? What's the reaction been?
Sorry, has the who responded?
Have the neighbors been supportive? What's been the reaction locally?
Yeah, some have actually. I've seen some comments asking to if there was a way to support these families. It is run by Dolores Street Community Services. Compass is the one that found them, and those are the two primarily how those families got there.